Welcome back, everyone. It's a new year. I guess a new Chatooine, even though nothing's going to change over here. But the Book of Boba Fett is finally here. We go over the first two episodes of the series and talk about Star Wars in 2022. All that and more here on Chatooine. So how's everybody's New Year been? Did you guys have a good holiday break?
I had a great holiday. I went to many different places. I hung out with a lot of different people. I consumed a lot of different products. It was a great time.
Products.
Yes. This is a Star Wars channel. We got to stay PG-13.
Semi age appropriate, I guess. We're like PG-13. Maybe NC-17. Is that the bad one?
Yeah.
NC-17 is the bad one.
Okay, I guess we can be the NC-17 Star Wars podcast. You guys have any New Year's resolutions that you're hell-bent on? Palpamemes, I know you're saying that you want to hit 5,000 on YouTube.
5,000 is the goal, and then get a good job. A job that pays.
Okay.
My New Year's resolution is to not be a fat ass and actually work on my YouTube channel more than I did in 2021.
I feel that.
Yeah,
living to the end of the year. That's what.
Oh shit! Wow,
that's my goal.
I feel like that may be the easiest one to do. Longer, I feel like that's within reach. I
don't know.
So you want to sit in my chair for a little bit, see how easy it is.
I was about to say I've been able to do it for 22 odd years, and
yeah, it's easy to say when you're a fetus. I know.
We still have the Cameo aging process on our side.
Yeah.
Well,
you realize I have less in front of me than behind me now at this point, right? I probably have your lifespan in front of me. That's probably what I got left.
Oh no, there's no way.
What, all three of us combined? That's good.
No,
maybe all three of us, but not each of us individually. You can't have like 20.
I'm 47. 47 plus 22 is what?
69.
There you go.
That's the perfect age. You're telling me you want to die at 69?
Well, if you're gonna go, I guess that's the best age to go, right?
You're not wrong.
He went out with 69.
Well, God bless you, Lunga. I hope you can fulfill your dream and your New Year's resolution. Oh man, hope everyone had a good holiday break and good time in the holidays. We took some time off on Chatooine, enjoyed Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year. I don't know what else they celebrate these days. Star Wars,
Kwanzaa.
Star Wars something. Kwanzaa, yes, that too. We celebrated Book of Boba Fett. If anyone's new here, Chatooine, we talk about news, topics, debate, and simply chat about Star Wars. We're on Spotify, so check us out there. We have a YouTube channel as well that we launched. You could be watching the stream through there, but if you're not, please check the description and hit up the YouTube channel for Chatooine. We're going to do the streams in the near future solely on there, but not any like news, but finally some content. We have Book of Boba. We had the first episode coming out on the 29th last week, a week from today, and then the second episode dropped this morning. And honestly, the show seems to be pretty popular. I feel pleasantly surprised, and it's kind of cool because for once, me and Goldman both disliked something heavily that everyone else loved, and then
I haven't told you my thoughts on the second episode yet.
Yeah, I'm curious on your thoughts and Palpameme's thoughts because Palpameme's just finished it like an hour or two ago. So I'm really curious on how we all switch things up because I also know Palpameme's has like kind of like extra layer of info to add to this.
Got some inside source which I will probably reveal in this episode.
I have a theory why you and Goldman have been agreeing more. About maybe I would say 6 months ago, you guys went to an opera and you told them the tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise, and this is where we're at. You've turned him. Just so you know.
Turned him to the dark side slowly but surely. He was like, "Is it possible to learn to be happy?" And I was like, "Not from a shill." That's why he's gone the route he's gone. He's my Anakin Skywalker. Maybe pulling out. Oh God, not the last shit.
Here we go. It's already started.
He's got a New Year, same bullshit.
He's gotta try. He's gotta try.
I gotta remember that there's always I'm not gonna fight what I hate, but I'm gonna save what I love. So
hold on to the light, Goldman. Hold on to the light.
Jesus. Okay. Well, we'll get that autographed by Jason Fry, friend of the show, if you will. But Book of Boba came out. It's the news of the area. It is think what, an hour and a half in total. The first one was like 28 to 34 minutes. The second one was
32, something like that. Yeah.
yeah,
It was
and
like
then the second
52.
one was yeah, it was right at that hour mark, and it's I feel a lot better about the second one. I dislike the first one, but I want to get your guys' takes. And as you guys know, we do it clockwise. So Longa, let's just start with the first episode because we haven't. It's easy to talk about both of them in hindsight, but
Yeah.
let's go around and talk about what our thoughts were initially on the first episode and just what you felt.
I mean, my thoughts on the first and the second are actually quite similar, because it's one episode. I mean, it's basically when you look at them as they are. It wasn't bad enough to make me say, table flip. It wasn't a bad batch situation, fuck this kid. It wasn't like that. But it wasn't like the greatest thing I've seen either. But it was enough there to keep me engaged. You know what I mean? It was enough to keep me engaged, but with a lot of questions of like, why is this? Why are we doing this? So that's where I'm at. I'm kind of like in that teetering point. So I need to, we need to get to these next episodes to see where I end up falling on this teeter-totter of Star Wars content. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
What about you, pal memes?
So we're doing episode 1 first. I genuinely really liked it. I thought it was engaging. I like how we did. Like, it was kind of goofy how when he went in the back to tank, we got flashbacks, but I'm like, they got to show the flashback somehow and how they did that. My biggest complaint is how I wish we saw more of him exiting the Sarlacc pit. I feel like that was cut a little bit short. But everything else was very good. I liked it. You can kind of see his motivations a little bit, which I think they bring up even more in episode 2, which we'll get on. Seeing Cameo again, obviously that was awesome. Then we get young Boba looking at the helmet of Jango Fett. I can't hate that. I know there's some discourse over on the old Star Wars Twitter, people complaining that the shot isn't frame for frame from Attack of the Clones. I don't know if you guys have seen
because
that.
of the dinosaur.
Because the CGI messy dinosaur is removed.
That was the best part of episode 1. That monster was awesome.
Oh, no. When young Boba's looking at the helmet, the flashback of Geonosis.
Gotcha. Okay.
Anyways, yeah. I really liked it. I had one complaint about the episode 1, and this goes into a major complaint I have even more on episode 2, and that is too much flashbacks, too much showing that. Again, it's even worse in episode 2, but I still liked episode 2. I want to get to the present, and they show a little bit of it, and then they cut away, and I'm like, oh, you had me there, and now it's gone. But episode 1 did it. I think they did it fair. I think they did a good job of keeping it balanced and thoroughly enjoyed it. I gave it a 7.8 out of 10 when I first watched it, and my rating still stands there. Yeah, 7.8, because I can't give it an 8 out of 10 because I just simply liked it. I thought it was so. It's called the Book of Boba Fett, right?
So why didn't it get 7.9?
Because the dinosaur wasn't in the Geonosis shot. Come on. This is the prologue we're seeing to Boba Fett, and I like that. It's the Book of Boba Fett. This is the prologue. This is setting things up. But overall, I enjoyed episode 1.
Well, now that we had the positive vibes, let's shit on it, Goldman. Come on, what did we hate about the first episode?
So just the first episode. Okay, for one, I won't say I hate it, because in order for me to actively hate something, I have to be passionate about it first and then have it get ruined. I don't care about Boba Fett before the series, so I can't hate it because I don't care enough about Boba Fett. But to go into my thoughts, my biggest problem with the series is that, and it's not simply that there's flashbacks or that most of these episodes are flashbacks. If you're going to do flashbacks in a story, there needs to be questions about the present, about how a certain character got there. I never had any questions about how did Boba Fett end up the way he is in The Mandalorian. To me, he didn't really seem any different. I mean, we know he escaped the Sarlacc pit. His armor was taken by some Jawas. Did I need anything else answered? No. So when he's spending time with the Tusken Raiders, they're clearly setting it up for something. But to me, it doesn't feel like it needs to be a flashback. I feel like what they could have done, I guess with the post-credit scene of The Mandalorian, you couldn't have done this. But if they just began the series with the flashbacks, I feel like it would be much more interesting. But I'm not invested in the Tusken Raiders. They fleshed them out nicely, which was interesting. But I feel like in the first episode of The Mandalorian Season 2, that was enough to make the Tusken Raiders a bit more of a culture and add more world building to Tatooine. So that's just the biggest problem I have with the flashback portion, because there's really two parts of the story, right? There's the Tusken Raider stuff, and then there's the present. So that's my biggest problem with the flashback stuff. Was just that I'm not interested, and they're not giving me a reason to be interested. I don't understand why Boba Fett wants to help the Tusken Raiders. I mean, they capture him, and what does he just want to be nice? Does he just want to eventually take them over and be ruthless?
They
That
were
would be
kind of
interesting.
brutal to him too.
Yeah, so
I'm still waiting on that motivation. Like, I guess we'll get into this episode 2
so-
stuff later, but yeah,
Mhm.
I kind of
So-
agree with you.
So that's my problems with the flashback. The present stuff is a little more interesting. This was actually a concern I had going into the series, and throughout these first 2 episodes, it's presenting itself a little bit more. And it's the relationship between Fennec Shand and Boba Fett. Fennec Shand's a cool character, but when the reason she's helping Boba is solely because he revived her from the first season of The Mandalorian, to me that's just not an interesting enough reason why she's sticking around. Like I feel like they don't have a relationship. They just feel like coworkers. She's like, "Oh, I'll help you. I'll protect you." And he's like, "Cool, let me run this criminal underworld." I like how he actually has to earn his way to becoming power. He's showing up and he's like, "Oh, this is my land," and people are like, "No, it's not, you idiot." I like that aspect of it, but they didn't do much in the first episode. There was the fight, and he was kind of lame in it. But I understand, he's not the same as he was before. That's fine. But in the first episode, they didn't really set anything up other than that there's opposition. Like, who is the opposition? We get that in the second episode. And what is Boba Fett going to do about it? And we get that in the second episode. So that was mostly my problems with the first episode. And when I was talking to my friends who hadn't seen it at the time, and I was giving them my thoughts, I was like, there's nothing really to spoil in the episode because nothing really happens. I mean, he crawls out of the Sarlacc pit. He gets his ass kicked by a few people. And that was it. So those are my overall thoughts on the first episode. I know it took a long time, but I needed to say all that.
No, I know all of us have been waiting to hear what your full unfiltered thoughts were on that, and I agree with you on different scenarios of it. Like for me, I didn't like the flashbacks in the first episode, and I like the present day stuff because it did feel like it was building up to something, and I'm kind of glad we got that payoff eventually with episode 2. And episode 2 was reversed. I liked the flashbacks a lot more than the present day stuff. For me, episode 1, it's kind of like how you were talking about, of like there wasn't anything to keep me going. I wasn't really engaged, and I felt like everything they were showing was stuff that we already knew. Like we wanted to see him get out of the Sarlacc pit, and that was cool. That needed to happen in the show. People would have been really upset if they didn't show that. But at the same time, I'm not shocked that it's anticlimactic. Like, what did you think was going to happen? So us seeing him in the beginning of Mandalorian season 2, or even in season 1 when we saw his footsteps and whatnot, I think it was kind of a given of like, oh, we know how he survived. He crawled out of the Sarlacc pit and he survived on Tatooine.
Patton Oswalt, he predicted it.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's funny how well those videos sync up together. But like Goldman was saying, you didn't really need to see so much of what they were doing with this backstory of the Tusken Raiders, at least in my opinion, in that first episode, because after a while of him being dragged through the sand, it's just like, okay, I get it. Like he suffered. Like I want to know what is actually this show going to be about? Is this about him becoming good with the Tusken Raiders? Is it about him like bringing these uncivilized people into civilization and making them a part of like the actual galaxy? Or is this about Boba Fett becoming a new crime lord and what he wants to do as a crime lord? Like even off the first episode, that was the problem I had leaving it, is I didn't really, like you were saying, Goldman, I didn't really have anything to spoil or talk about. It was just like, oh, it's kind of what I guess I thought it would be, and it just was unsatisfactory. And so there was nothing to go off of for me going into episode 2, and episode 2 did feel like a natural progression for the show. And I feel like Fennec and Boba Fett, I like their dynamic. I can't say I complain about that. I like Fennec so far. I like how she wants to kill anything and everything. Like the second someone gets in Boba's way, he's like, it's whatever. And she's like, no, can I kill him? I thought that was really cool.
On to episode 2.
Episode 2.
Episode 2 thoughts.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, because I got a whole bag. I saved all my thoughts for this because
Good.
I didn't know.
I know
everyone
Lunga was
episode
teasing.
1.
We all have our like theories on how these two tie in together and
Okay.
whatnot, but Lunga's got.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Because this may take a while. Just you guys may want to get a drink.
Hit me with your best shot.
Because what I'm going to do now is break down to you guys what they are trying to do. I'm giving a whole plot, which they should have kind of explained to us with these first 2 episodes, but haven't. You just have to like really, really think about it to figure it out, which is cool in some aspects, but very annoying in others. The theme we're getting here right off the bat, why he's the kinder, gentler Boba, and why we're getting the flashbacks of the prequels. Number one is the sense of family and community. That's what he's missing. He had that when he was a child. He lost it. He got that back again with what was the name of the bounty hunter again that he hooked up with in Clone Wars? When they trained him,
Cad Bane
Or
or Bosk?
No, Goldman was saying it. You were still. What was the name you were saying?
Or
Yes.
Yeah.
Who got killed
Yes,
by
Singh.
Beckett and Solo?
Yes. So I mean, he had, he had that community then with them too. But I mean, he was obsessed with getting Mace Windu, but he had that community feel and family kind of feeling. So I think that's what he's trying to go back. Then after that, he ended up being a loner for so long, right? So I think that's the one thing they're trying to show. At the same time, they're also trying to world build the Tusken Raiders, which we've never gotten before, which is cool, but it's taking up too much time on a Boba Fett show. Okay, that's the problem. It's taking too much time on a Boba Fett show. You got to make up your mind. And I've said this about a lot of shows lately, and a lot of directors have been having this problem. You're trying to put too much into one show. They did it with Hawkeye. Why are you putting all this stuff in there? It's too much in one show. Just focus on one thing. But I think I know why. Once we get in, again, spoilers for everyone if you haven't seen it. Once we get to episode 2 and we get his vision quest with Lizard instead of peyote, Lizard up his nose. I don't understand the reason for this. Why he has a lizard up his nose. But it was a peyote. It was peyote. It was shrooms. It was a vision quest. That's literally what it was. Because they're making direct parallels between indigenous Native Americans and Tusken Raiders. That's what they're doing with this. If anyone has seen Dune, that's what they're ripping off here.
You stole what I was going to say.
I'm telling you, 100% that's what they're ripping off with this, okay? Desert power. Boba Fett, which they still haven't given me a reason why he cares so much about the Tusken Raiders when he suddenly does. I don't know. They haven't given me enough to show why he sticks around. Okay, that's the main problem. But desert power. He goes in there. The water, like where do water all of a sudden matter? I mean, I know water matters in a desert planet, but water's a big deal in Dune. That's a big element, a plot element in Dune, not in here. But they're trying to make it that. He's trying to build this criminal organization, but also be fair to the indigenous people who have been mistreated the entire time that they've been there. So the Tusken Raiders are the Fremen. They are his desert power. He is the Kwisatz Haderach. He is the one that's going to bring the Tusken Raiders to prominence and to power again on Tatooine, which was their planet to begin with. And they're going to be his army that the rest of the cartels don't understand that what their power there. They always looked at him as nothing, which is what they saw us, which was cool. We saw the Pikes. The Pikes thought of them as just nothing. They're like animals. Like, just get rid of them. They're in our way. We don't want to mess with our stuff. Get rid of him. So that's what it's going to be. It's going to be his army. That's what's going to help him win the power there. And all this other stuff, which is cool. The huts were cool, this and that. Everything was great to see. I feel like they're going to focus on this Tusken Raider shit way too much, and it's going to end up taken away from me. And that's what I'm worried is going to happen. Now, it depends. If they get away from this flashback stuff and go more to the present day, which is what was really captivating me, was the present day stuff, just like Palpatine said. I was really invested in that present day story. If they go on that some more, it may be okay, but we'll see. It worries me that Rodriguez is kind of co-opting Dune, which is funny because Frank Herbert had an issue with George Lucas.
Well, to be fair, I mean,
Dune.
I know it's being written by Dave Filoni and it's mostly been written by Jon Favreau, but I think Dave Filoni's writing an episode. But like you were saying, Robert Rodriguez, he does have a lot of influence on this. Do you feel like if, let's say, they drop the flashback stuff in the next episode, for you, it'll be okay to like continue the show forward because we put that behind us? Because I feel like that's the point I'm at, where I'm like, I just want to get past the flashback point.
Yeah,
it's really cool. It had its arc, but let's move on with present day Boba and see how the flashbacks affect the show later on. Do you think that if they get rid of that by the next episode, like the third episode, they show a little bit of it, but they move on by the fourth and fifth, the show's going to be redeemable by that point? Or do you think it's just going to be mostly flashbacks?
It'll be a good first step.
Okay.
To make it show better, because like I said, what I've seen so far of the present day stuff is really intriguing, and it's a really captivating story. Something I want to see more of. I want to see this. We talked about this early on. They were like, "Is this a show that was supposed to be at Star Wars Underworlds? Like this is their version, Disney's version of what Lucas is trying to do with that Underworld show? Possibly. Let's get to more of that Underworld stuff. Enough of this Tusken Raider shit. and I appreciate what they're doing, and I think the world building you're doing with them is really cool. I think it's the wrong place though. It's taking up too much time of a show that's supposed to be about Boba Fett in the underworld.
Well, what about you, Palpatine? What did you think of the second episode? Did you like it? I mean, you just watched it a couple hours ago, right?
Not even like 30 minutes ago.
Oh my.
Well, no, it's 7:30 now. An hour ago. Lunga, I pretty much agree with you on almost everything. Here's a hot take. I actually disliked this episode more. I disliked it more than episode 1. I still enjoyed it overall, but so we got to the underworld stuff. We got to this. We got to see the mayor. We got to see all this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go. Yes, finally, we're getting into this story. Who's that black Wookiee that we saw? I always forget his name.
It was like Black Chrysanthemum, I think it's his name.
Something like that. So
I need more of him.
Here's my question real quick. Does that confirm the leaks? Or was that leaked beforehand? Because that big 4chan leaked.
That was leaked beforehand.
So
I know that's
I think
something
that
that's been
4chan
teased for a
leak was
while.
trying to combine a bunch of leaks together, try and get some clout. But no, I was so intrigued, I was invested, and then he went back to tank. And I'm just like, oh, here we go again. But then we see more of Camino, and I was like, okay, here we go. This is cool. Did we see more of Geonosis? I don't think so. It was just Camino.
I think it was all Camino in those flashbacks.
Just Camino. And then we get back to the Tuskens, and I think from that point on, the rest of the 35, 40 minutes left of the runtime was all flashbacks.
Mm-hmm.
10 minutes of making a gaffa stick.
Yeah. And then the weird ritual dance at the end or whatever. It was one of those things where it's like, the flashbacks were well executed. My problem with it is that we only have 5 episodes left of this show.
Yeah, that's a good
And so
point.
when you look at the timeline that we have left, I'm just thinking how much time is being wasted by these cool action scenes from the past and stuff. Episode 1, I understood the past. I understood how he got alive. But the whole idea with him being a crime lord taking over, that's so much cooler and so much more intriguing and more interesting than him kind of becoming a Tusken Raider. And, here goes my camera again. Let me stop that.
Yep.
I don't know why it's doing that. Let me fix this. Anyways, I don't even know where I was going. Yeah, I think because basically I'll go ahead and say, like, my source said this like a couple days ago or something, that he heard that the first episode was actually split into 2 to spread out the weeks a little bit more. He wasn't too confident on that, and then it turns out that that's basically how it happened. This episode takes off right from episode 1. It's just a lot longer, and I just want to see more of that crime lord stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's just me, and I'm trying to fix my camera while I talk, so I do apologize.
No, that's okay.
Sounding all regain my thoughts.
See, one thing I'll say about like him doing the flashback stuff, like at least for me, I know one of the things that we were all kind of cautious about is like, why do we care about Boba Fett? Like, why should he get his own show? He's not a character we ever connected to emotionally. I will say, I think these first 2 episodes so far have made him more of an interesting character, like someone that you can kind of connect to. I talked about in my review for the episode, like that simple shot of young Boba seeing Jango Fett like fly off. It was like, okay, like it makes you sympathize with him a little bit more. It adds to the depth of his character, even though there really wasn't much to begin with. And so I appreciate the flashbacks for doing that. But like you're saying, there's only 5 episodes left. So were they doing these flashbacks to give us more character for Boba, or were they doing these flashbacks to shorten the amount of like story that they're actually going to tell with Boba? Because there is only so much you can do with him. Because this is supposed to be season 2.5 of The Mandalorian, and we haven't really gotten that vibe or feel yet. And when it comes to like all the big cameos we're talking about, like if it's going to be balls to the wall epic, they have 5 episodes to do it now. And I don't know if you guys feel like these past 2 were wasted or if these past 2 added to his character, but for me, it adds a little bit to the character that can hopefully give us a satisfying story. And there may even be a season 2. I mean, the numbers are doing pretty good. So,
All right, my turn.
Yes, sir.
First I want to state that I really dislike the second episode as well, and it honestly just makes me sad. Like I'm not here like happy that I'm talking about how much I dislike the episode. It makes me upset, but let me get into my thoughts. And it's funny, I'm a little annoyed that Lunga brought up Dune because I was going to bring it up. And my biggest problem, I think this episode, the flashbacks could have been great, but the problem is that it's a flashback. I feel like the story would have been much better if it begins with him in the present. He wants to take over the crime world. But say they spend 2 episodes where he sucks at it, right? He doesn't know how to lead people properly. No one is listening to him. And say at the end of the 2nd episode, he gets his ass kicked, and then he's like thrown off into the desert or whatever. And then you spend 1, 2, maybe 3 episodes where he integrates himself with the Tusken Raiders. Basically, what we saw throughout the 2nd episode, he learns how to lead. He learns how to build bonds with people. And he builds this army, if you will. And then by the end of the series, he's able to come back and maybe take over the crime syndicate that way. I think that would have been much more effective. But you guys are talking about how the show makes Boba Fett a little more relatable. I don't see that at all. The flashbacks, well, it's funny because they have the flashbacks within the flashbacks of him as when he was younger. I don't see this. If you think the direction of the story is him about him wanting a family, I don't see that at all. Maybe just from the flashbacks of him younger, sure, but I still don't understand why he's doing all this. Like, what are his goals? What does he want to accomplish by helping the Tusken Raiders? If he wants family, that would be interesting, but they haven't given me any hints about that. I hope I'm wrong. I want you guys to, like, in the comments, let me know if there's things I'm missing, maybe a little moment that makes him a little bit more empathetic. But there's moments in The Mandalorian that were great, where you understood why he was doing what he wanted. Like, one of my favorite scenes in the first season of The Mandalorian was when he takes the knob and he's about to put it back on the, I guess, the lever in about halfway through the 3rd episode. At that point, you completely understood why he was going back for Grogu, because he felt abandoned when he was younger and he doesn't want Grogu to feel the same way. In this show, I don't get that moment where I understand, oh, he's doing this because he misses family, or, oh, he's doing this because he feels really bad for the Tusken Raiders. I just don't get that moment. So throughout this whole episode, the world building was fantastic. I loved the little details on, I think it's Mos Espa. I like how the mayor is actually, I forget the name of the species, but the one that has 2 mouths on the sides.
Ithorian.
Ithorian, yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I like how they brought the Hutts back, although I don't think those 2 Hutts can be a good enough villain for the show, but we'll see. And people like stop talking about the flashbacks, but the flashbacks are the whole episode. So when they spend 70% of the episode about him, you know, he's integrating himself with the Tusken Raider Society, he's training with them. I don't see where his character is going. To me, he doesn't seem like a different person from when he crawled out of that Sarlacc pit to the end of the 2nd episode in terms of the flashbacks. I don't see the progression of the character. And I don't know where it's going. People keep on telling me, oh, it's set up, but set up for what? And what it's potentially setting up for, it doesn't interest me. I don't see. I don't know. Someone else take it.
Can I cut in here?
Yeah,
Yes.
please.
I think if I had the choice, I would have much preferred the first episode be all the flashbacks. Have the prologue be the flashbacks. The entire thing, the whole it's because one of my biggest problems is it's not linear enough, and what I mean is it's not focused enough. You have 2 completely different stories going on throughout each episode, and I think it's not that it gets confusing because they're completely different. It's that it's too much at the moment, and I want it to be more focused and more centered on one thing at a time. And I think it would have been, and it would be received better, because this show is still being received very well. I'm indifferent from Goldman. I'm very excited for next week. I really like this show because I see where it can go. I'm just kind of worried that the rest of the season is going to be the same old thing where he does a little bit in the present and then goes back to flashbacks. I doubt it, but there's a chance that it seems like they're doing that too much already. It would have been so much better if the first episode start out with his hand shooting out of the sand, out of the Sarlacc pit, or we can even see him fighting off the Sarlacc, and then end goes everything with the Tusken Raiders that we saw episode 1 and 2. And then it ends where episode 2 ended, right, in that flashback. And then episode 3 next week, or I guess that would be today.
And then you could just have one scene of when all that ends, it fades into him in the back of the tank, and then it'd be like,
all you need, he was resting. I mean, it just would have been so much better, and it just, I'm curious how it's going to play out for the whole season, because, you know, it's just 2 episodes out of a 7-episode series, so maybe when the whole thing comes out, it'll all kind of come together better, like a movie essentially.
Well, it seems like a lot of us are like more interested in what he's doing in the present day than the flashbacks. Like, honestly, you have to ask yourself as an audience member, when it comes to episode 3, chapter 3, that comes out next week, do you want to see what happens in the flashbacks, or do you want
No.
to see what happens in the present day? And I
Yes.
feel like a lot of people are going to say present day because at this point with the flashbacks, he's got the, I mean, of course, spoiler alerts for anyone who hasn't seen the past 2 episodes, but he now has the little stick that he earned from them. He did the ritual with them at the very end. You have the gaffa stick. You don't need, I have closure with his relationship with the Tusken Raiders. I can now see him going, like, for me, chapter 3 and episode 3 has to only be present day, because now for me, the flashbacks are irrelevant. I have closure with his relationship with the Tusken Raiders. Someone made a really good point in the comment section about like what he was doing in these episodes, and that he's learning to lead with respect but not fear. And I think that's a very good point. I don't think it was a message that was overly delivered in the past 2 episodes, but I think it's a very good point on, you know, what we're learning about Boba with these Tusken Raiders. And so I feel like with episode 3, if we don't have any of the flashbacks with Tusken Raiders and we focus on Boba in the present, it will show that these past 2 episodes really did a good job of kind of building up what has led to his current decision making. Because it's weird to me seeing people who didn't like the first episode, maybe even the second episode at this point, saying like Boba's not like a badass anymore. And it's like, well, he's still kind of an anti-hero. He's still kind of evil. He had Fennec point a rifle at Grogu just to get his armor back. I mean, he has a purpose in everything that he's doing, but the problem is we don't really know what he's doing in this series just yet, like what he wants to do as a crime lord. He wants to rule with respect and not fear and all that, but I'm not going to say why, but just what is his end goal here?
My question is what do people classify as badass? Because it seems like what people call badass seems to switch and change when we're talking about Boba Fett. Is it that he's just a tough, a bounty hunter who gets the job done? He's still that's not changing. I guess, is it, it's a trope we see with a lot of bounty hunters, right? That the job is the job, but it doesn't mean that they're indiscriminate killers. It doesn't mean that they're murderers. It doesn't mean that they're, just will kill anyone who's in their way. That's not what it necessarily means. That they just take care of the job. And from what I got just from the 5 minutes or whatever lines he had in the original trilogy, was he was just about the job. I just want to get the job done, get what I need, get paid, move on. And I don't see that changing. It's just fleshing out a little bit more of him when he's not on the job. That's how I see it. And yeah, like you said, Star Wars Only, they are pulling this whole lead with respect, not fear. It's coming from his time with the Tusken Raiders. That's what he learned with them.
I really like that aspect.
It's apparent, but do we need that much with them?
That's my thing. It's like,
we got it.
After they could have condensed this so much better, but again, they could have just made the flashbacks one episode.
Yeah,
make it an hour-long episode. That'd have been a great prologue. You could even call it prologue if they wanted to have title cards and stuff. Like it would have been so good. And then episode 2, boom, here he is.
And can we mention Star Wars has hardly ever employed flashbacks?
Wasn't until The Last Jedi. That's when they first made their beautiful debut.
Robert Rodriguez is the Rian Johnson stan, confirmed.
But I get the sense that like for all of us, flashbacks were all kind of over with. I'm surprised, Goldman, you didn't like the second episode, and we both disliked the first one. I really liked the second episode because even with the flashbacks, a lot of the modern day a lot of the present stuff that they were doing, I thought this episode was funny. Like I really felt like this was a very good Star Wars episode. There was like adventure to it, which was kind of simple and easy, which was him dealing with the Tusken Raiders and the train. There was some building up of like the villains, like the 2 Hutts at the very beginning, the siblings. I thought that was really cool. The twins. I love the idea of like him and Longa, I've told you this, like I really am into like the Italian mafia and mob stuff. Like I don't the genre, the movies, the gangster stuff absolutely intrigues me. So having that in Star Wars, I find it really exciting. Like I love that he goes to the mayor and the mayor like gives him a piece of advice that leads him to the Hutts. And the mayor, first of all, he sends a guy to Boba, doesn't even go to him himself, and says, "You need to give me tribute. Like, I'm supposed to give you tribute. You're going to give me tribute." And then as tribute, he just offers him like some advice, and then he runs into the Hutts, and they're like, "This is our territory." Black Chrysanthemum shows up. Like all of that is what really excites me, and like I can't wait to see what happens in the next few episodes
line,
with that,
which is great. Since you like those movies, you I know you had to appreciate that line where the one Hutt says, "Violence is bad for business."
Yes, yeah. I loved when Fennec was like, "We can't kill the Hutts because they're
made men."
She was like, "We need permission." I'm like, "Oh, they're made. Like you can't kill a made man unless you have to get permission to kill a made man." Like I love that stuff. So I think this show isn't bad so far. Like, I mean, looking back at something like Bad Batch, I'm a lot happier with what we have with the Book of Boba Fett than what we had with Bad Batch starting out, because Bad Batch had a great
Oh.
premiere episode and then immediately kind of tanked in interest. This show, I feel like people's interest, even ours, like if we don't like the flashbacks, at least the present day stuff still interests me, and I still want to see what happens next, because the mayor's got something up his sleeve, and I want to know what that is.
That's my
Yellow was saying that too. Yellow was saying he thinks he's the. I'm like, no, it's apparently that the Hutt sent that the red.
Mhm.
What were the ninjas called? The red what? The red something.
Wasn't like the
call
Wind
these
Ninjas
assassins.
or something like that? Nightwind.
The Nightwind. I think that's what it was.
Nightwind.
I think it was Night.
Nightwind.
I think it was
Yeah.
Nightwind.
Night something.
Nightwind or something, yeah, whatever it was. So and he killed. He had to kill. He's like, they're not supposed to operate outside of Hutt space. So it's obviously the Hutts are who sent those assassins. And Yellow on when we were doing our watch party, he's like, no, I think it was the mayor that did it. I'm like, no, the mayor you could see he's that guy in the middle who's the politician who's still beholden to all of these cartels. And he tries to eke out whatever power he can in that position. And Boba being the new guy, he thought he could bully him a little bit. You know what I mean? And then when he came, he realized he's like, yeah, no, I'm not the one you got to worry about. Because I'm not the one who's in control.
I just want to touch on something, and it's a trope that a lot of shows do that I really don't like, and this show is doing it as well, where a show will have like a bunch of like there'll be this main story thread, and then there'll be this random side story, and we don't understand why it's there, and then by the end of the series, we're like, oh, okay, we get it now why that story thread was there. I hate that story idea, because I should be invested from the beginning. I shouldn't be told, oh, you're going to like where it's going to lead. I should like it right now. And that's how I feel about the whole Tusken Raiders stuff. And
Hook you. It's just gonna hook you. It's got to at least hook you.
exactly. Like the first episode or the first two episodes of a series should not be just setup. They should establish something. Yes, they should set up certain things and then build on what happened and the setup. These two episodes are just set up. I actually really liked the present day stuff in episode 2. I like the world building there, but again, that's only about a fourth of the episode. And a big thing for me in Star Wars, and I was just thinking about this as I was silent for like 10 minutes, is that all the main characters in Star Wars, I understand why they're doing what they're doing. With Anakin in Revenge of the Sith, he loves Padme and he doesn't want to lose her, and he clearly has attachment problems, so that's why he turns to the dark side. Luke goes throughout this whole journey, mostly in episode 4 and 5, because he just longed for adventure. He hates his life and he wants to tell people. And then in Return of the Jedi, he wants to save his father, and that's why he goes to risk his life for him. Even in the sequels, Rey leaves and sticks around because she wants to find a family. Now, you could argue if all that was done well or not, but in this show, I still don't understand. Why does Boba Fett want to be a crime lord? Just he likes power? Does he want to help people? Is that it? I haven't gotten that sense.
I think that's what I said. The Doom thing.
I think
Exactly.
It's about giving a better life to the people who were there. I think that's what it is.
I don't get that. I don't get that vibe from him.
Yeah,
And
I think it's pointing out.
It's a weird turn for the character. I like the idea, but to me, it's just not set up enough. And I'm not getting that vibe. To me, he just kind of shows up there. Like there's never a moment where, say, he's like in this episode, right? In the second one, where the Tusken Raiders are getting attacked by the train or whatever, the first time it passes by. I never got that vibe that Boba Fett felt genuinely upset. Like he sees maybe a father in the distance holding his Tusken Raider kid, and he just feels really bad. Like I didn't get that vibe from him. To me, it just they attacked, he hid.
I think
he's like, oh, okay, I'm alive. Oh, I want to help them. I don't get the vibes.
I think I know what makes it deep. I mean, we saw the genesis of it, right? With the ceremony and him becoming a member of the tribe, dances with wolves, whatever you want to call it. Paul becoming a member of the Fremen, that's basically what it was. But we got to also remember that when we first see him, it's in Mandalorian, and he had been with them for 7 years at this point, right? Because he's with them the moment he comes out of the Sarlacc pit, basically, this almost the same day. And then he's still with them when he finds Mando 7 years later. So he has 7 years of history with these Tusken Raiders. We just saw the beginning of it, the first couple weeks of it, I guess you could say. And it's going to be 7 years. So I guess they're hoping, we assume that over these 7 years, he saw a lot of injustices against the Tusken Raiders.
Well, we didn't even need to see that over 7 years. I really thought the second episode showed that alone with like the train situation. Yeah. Like one of the first things I thought when the train started like firing on the Tusken Raiders was, why? Like these Tusken Raiders haven't done anything to you. And it
Right.
it made me as an audience member at least reflect, like, all right, well, why are these Tusken Raiders like so, like, pretty much since the start of Star Wars, Episode 4, A New Hope, and 77, you always saw the Tusken Raiders as like mindless sand people who just raid stuff. You even see that in the Phantom Menace a little bit. So seeing them, savages, yes. So seeing them in the Mandalorian communicate with Din Djarin in the first season with Chapter 5, Dave Filoni's episode, and then you have, what was it, Chapter 9, the one with Jon Favreau directing it, where he goes back to Tatooine. Yeah, and he gets the armor from Cobb Vanth. He interacts with the Tusken Raiders, and it's a different tribe as well, and he like trades with them and all that stuff. Like there's a kind of building of the Tusken Raiders as a civilization or as like a culture and whatnot, and I like adding that humanity to them throughout the Mandalorian and now the Book of Boba Fett. I don't think I really need much more of it, but I think seeing the train attack them and kill a lot of them. I mentioned this to my girlfriend when we were watching, and I even said this in my video. I never thought I would care about seeing these Tusken Raiders die, and even seeing them like mourn the death of their people when they're putting them in the fire afterwards, and seeing Boba kind of like look around and reflect on that. To me, that was adding some character to him, of him being like he realizes what these people are also going through, and also like him taking charge and saying that I'm going to take care of the train situation. They all work together. He teaches them. He defeats them. I feel like he gets a sense of pride from that, and that he learns kind of right then and there, like he can be a leader and he can become a crime lord. And him interacting with the what were they called, the Pikes, and dealing with their spice and whatnot. That stuff to me was kind of the moment where I was like, all right, this guy can be a crime lord, and now he's realizing that. But like Lungo was saying, this isn't happening for another 7 years, so I don't want to see over the next 5 episodes 7 years of flashbacks with these people.
Right, that's what I said.
Yeah,
but you see what they're doing. You say you appreciate they're humanizing them, but you see it's exactly what I said at the beginning. It's a complete parallel to Indigenous Native Americans and how the U.S. military and how the deputized marshals who were out there killing Indians for them and all this stuff, to where they were viewed in general as savages. And they were viewed in general because of maybe there was some aggressive tribes. They were viewed as all of them are aggressive and they're just animals and they're savages and we need to kill them all off. And how they just completely dehumanized Indigenous Native Americans in this country. And that's what they did to the Tusken Raiders. It's a complete parallel to that story in history. And that's what they're trying to achieve with that. What we're trying to humanize them and say, no, these are people. They're not savages.
Right. A line I like, one of my favorite lines in this episode, and one of the best parts is at the end, after they defeat the train and the training of the Pikes and all them, is when they're telling when the Tuskens are talking to Boba and they're telling him how we can't fight them, they have machines, and Boba's like, you have machines now too. And then they say, and then they talk about kind of the backstory, how I guess there was water on Tatooine at one point, now it's gone, whatever.
Dune.
Just
yeah,
like Arrakis.
One of my favorite lines was when one of them says, "Other tribes simply kill to survive," and so that's something I really liked. Is like, you're exactly right, Lunga. There are like Attack of the Clones. That tribe was obviously horrific. I mean, what they did to Shmi, causing Anakin to lash out and rage on them, and so it's kind of cool to see like they're not all the same, and that's something that you've seen in the past and stuff, dehumanization of cultures and tribes and races and all that. We've seen that so many times throughout the history of since humans were here. And it's really cool to see that in Star Wars. And I think they're doing a very good job of showing like, it's like these guys are different from the ones you saw in Attack of the Clones or your Phantom Menace even that are shooting during the pod race and stuff. I really like that aspect. And so though I hope we're done with flashbacks, it would be cool to see him come back, and present.
Oh, they're going to be his army. 100%. Bet on it. Bank on it right now. There's going to be a big fight, and they're going to be his army.
Well, it
makes them so powerful.
Are they looking at him almost, I won't say like as a god, because that's a huge exaggeration, but almost as a leader? Because they get him this nice outfit, look kind of like Luke in Return of the Jedi when he put the hood on. They gave him this nice outfit. They had him create his weapon, but they're not making him dress up like a Tusken Raider. It's almost like they're treating
I think
him
he's
a
a
little
guide.
higher above.
I like.
Well, he was. It was just different colors.
Yeah, he had the all black, but I like what the chief said. Like, you are a good guide. I think that's what they're gonna use him as a guide, as someone to mediate between the civilized world and the uncivilized world, and him being the crime lord of like Tatooine. What was it called? The Daimyo or something like that.
Daimyo, which they're mixing a lot of stuff because that's Japanese. Rulers.
It's interesting, but the fact that they're using that kind of stuff, and he's trying to place a foothold in a crime world of like, I am the new Jabba the Hutt. Like Tatooine is mine. I am the crime lord of this planet, and him also having the Tusken Raiders. I mean, Jesus, the power that guy would hold over Tatooine
Yep.
alone is crazy. I really hope when we're talking about like the different kind of cultures of like Tusken Raiders and stuff, and this is probably like my last point on the Book of Boba Fett stuff is I hope over the next 5 episodes, each episode doesn't have a flashback of him going to a different like big tribe and bringing them into the fold of the Tusken Raiders. Could you imagine? Oh, I would
Good
cry.
Lord.
No, I would think his legend just grows and they get known. You know, he goes back to his original tribe. That one, which I still think is a girl, the one with the long braids.
Oh God, I forgot about her.
Yeah, the one. Well, hey, she was a badass fighter on that train, dude. When she hopped into that train and took him out and popped up from the hole, that was actually pretty damn cool.
No,
That was one of
she's
the-
great. I don't think the girl on the bike is the same one. I hope not, because
No, they revealed the stunt actor for obviously stunt actor's going to be different from the character, but
yeah, it was that
stunt
Marvel
actor's
lady,
gonna be
right?
completely different.
Are you talking
Yeah,
about with
yeah.
that guy? That was the leader, because there's two. There's the one with the braids, who's not the leader. It's just like the
Mm.
toughest fighter.
Maybe
Then the one who talked to him was the taller one next to her. That's the
Okay.
one who told him
Okay.
who gave him the lizard, who gave him the gift. That's the leader of the tribe. The one with the braids isn't the leader. It's just like the general or like
Okay,
the main.
yeah.
You know what I mean? At least that's what I've gotten from it. When I
I
watched.
see that now. Yeah, yeah.
But I know what you're talking about because the actor looks like almost like could be a brother to the one who played Enfys Nest. It looked like they could be brothers.
Yeah.
Is that the one you're talking about? The brother and sister?
Well, I was talking about on that. Who? What's that person's name? The stunt actor that came out for.
I forgot.
No
I forgot.
idea.
I'm bad with now. Horrible.
Anyways,
names.
people were speculating that girl in the show, but I guess that was someone different. So yeah.
Gotcha. But it does seem like a girl, and I think that's going to be his main connection, and I could see a possible talking to her and her contacting the other tribes and bringing them all in under him. Like,
Can I say something?
Legend of Boba Fett.
I can't wait to see the fight between that Wookiee and Boba Fett.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, that thing looked awesome. It's gonna
dude,
be
did you see the
sick.
stink eye he gave him right at the end before he
was
left?
ready to go,
Just-
but he's like, just give the word, because they confirmed that the Hutts were Jabba's cousins.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys caught on to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they did.
yeah,
They
yeah.
said-
Mhm.
What's cool is like Black Chrysanthemum has like a history of Boba too. Like when they were
Black
introduced,
Chrysanthemum. I gotta get that name down.
yeah, they were teaming up together, so they know who they are, like each other are, and they've worked together.
See, I
before.
never heard of that. So that's an EU thing, Black or something?
Well,
not
there is a
EU,
He's in the
like, new
comics.
canon.
Comics,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's new comics.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, I haven't read any new ones.
I can
That's why.
find, I can
Right.
look up to see where he shows up at.
But no, I need to see more of him. That guy looks fucking awesome. And and we know Wookiees are big. We've always known they're big. They're imposing. They're tall. Dude was thick. Did you see the thighs in it? He was jacked. That
Big boy.
Wookiee is not playing. Okay.
Wikipedia already has the images and everything updated from Boba Fett.
Nice.
That's amazing.
Oh, and you guys were bringing back Fennec Shand. I do love Ming-Na, and I love the character of Fennec Shand. I think it's great. But I think so far, and it could just be because of the flashbacks, I feel she's being wasted. There's just not.
Yes.
Why is she there at this
She hasn't
point?
really done anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not yet. I'm hoping we get more from her because she's cool. She should be like the one who takes over Boba, his place whenever he moves on or retires or whatever. She should be the heir to him.
I just don't want her to be in the muscle. I want her to be more than just muscle.
Yeah, she needs to offer a little bit more.
Yeah, I like that trope of her character, like we talked about at the beginning, where she just like, can I kill it? Can I kill him? Can I kill him? Can we talk about the Sarlacc pit? Not the Sarlacc pit, the Rancor.
Rancor.
That was
I got
Yeah.
so,
I've-
I got
That-
so
that was
nervous.
funny.
It got me. I was like, isn't that dead? I was like, I see what they're doing.
I was thinking like, man, did they replace one that quick? Like I thought that would have been cool.
No,
That quick?
It was
It's
all
what,
the scary.
5 years after Jedi?
7.
I mean,
Is it 7?
Isn't
So-
it's supposed to be 7, isn't it?
Black
Yeah, I think
Chrysanthemum
so.
showed up mainly in the Darth Vader comics and the Dr. Aphra stuff,
Hmm.
if anyone cares.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah, the Dr. Aphra is one thing I still haven't read. I haven't
haven't
felt
read it.
interested. And Indiana Jones and Star Wars doesn't seem to intrigue me that much. I know a lot of people love Dr. Aphra, but I just haven't been able to
Yeah, I couldn't care less about her.
get the motivation to read it. But someone in my chat yesterday mentioned this because I wasn't sure at first. I'm like, why the hell showing up now? Bib has been running it apparently for 7 years, and now they're
Yeah, I
going
was
to show
curious
up.
about that.
But it makes a lot of sense if you think about it. Bib could have taken over, but still was kicking back to them, so he was kind of their proxy.
Yeah.
Well, did
and-
people
and he
know
was
he
still
died?
kicking back
Because
to
in episode 1, wasn't there some shock from
Well, Boba told him that he's dead. He just got rid of him.
the mayor's
Yeah.
assistant, his spokesman, or so whatever? Was it the guy who was like, wait, I thought Bib Fortuna? No, he knew about him. There was someone in that episode who didn't know that Bib died, and then was shocked when Boba Fett
Yeah.
I
Well, I
can't
have a
remember.
feeling this is taking place like a couple days after. Like they just came in there, just killed him, so he's just
Yeah.
letting everybody know.
These timelines,
that-
look, they're throwing me off. Like they keep going all
Yeah.
sorts of.
Can I-
directions.
and you're good. They're gonna have the EU thing with Bib in that, in his brain in that with the monks and the spider, because remember we saw that spider in the trailer. They
That's
showed that
true.
trailer with the tank under it. So they're bringing that back from that Tales of Jabba's Palace, the EU book.
Can I pose a question to you guys?
Mhm.
You know how we heard all about those leaks, those supposed cameos from certain characters that we love from certain movies? Do we still think that's gonna happen?
Are you talking about the 4chan?
At least with like, well, I think in general, like the Han Solo one, the one that like we revealed the Han Solo and Luke Skywalker one, I think before
Mhm.
anybody else. And
Yeah.
lately, a lot of people have been saying the Han Solo thing is happening. There was one saying, I don't know any of these websites. I didn't really like check because I was like, well, we already talked about it. Like, and there's no reason like to talk about it more really. But some of them were saying that like Harrison Ford filmed some scenes while he was filming Indiana Jones. Some others are saying that like Han will be in like the very last episode. And so it just seems like Luke and Han, or mainly Han, has been teased a lot by like a lot of other outlets, I guess. So I feel like that one's going to happen. The Luke and Grogu one will still surprise me. I feel like that one's just kind of the way the show has gone in these first 2 episodes. To me, it's unfathomable that like we're going to have big cameos with like Cad Bane, even Bosk. Oh no, Bosk seems realistic. Cad Bane and like Luke Skywalker, that seems like a reach to me, but that's just my personal opinion. So I think Han Solo is still like a high
Cad Bane
likelihood.
doesn't. That seems like a reach to you, Cad Bane. Cad Bane doesn't seem like a
Dude,
reach.
he's so old, man. He's just so old, and seeing like the way they're for me, it's just the pacing of the show and like the lack of knowing what's going on with his like his present day motive, because some of the leaks before, supposed leaks allegedly, were saying that like he's on a revenge hunt, and that's why I was like, oh, it makes sense that Luke and Han would be in this because maybe he's trying to go after them. First 2 episodes, I mean,
Nothing but
present day,
that.
he's just chilling. As like, does he really want to get revenge on anybody? He seems like a more of a good guy than anything nowadays. So it's
Which
kind of hard
completely
to.
throws the Mace Windu thing out the window. I do not see
Yeah.
this being any
Thank
kind of vehicle
God.
for Mace to return, because
No.
I do not see
Mace
this Boba
Windu.
Fett wanting to kill Mace Windu if he's still alive. You know, I just don't. I
Why?
don't see it.
What was
H.
Shill.
Send your PayPal pal memes. We'll all
Half
send
of that
you
goes
$2.
to me. Half of that goes to me.
So
And all
another
that goes to
question.
you.
Another question.
I
Do you
can
guys
see Cad
think?
Bane as. Go ahead.
Oh.
Sorry, Golden. Go ahead.
Do you guys think at any point in this series they will leave Tatooine?
I'm starting to think not.
He hasn't even
Yeah.
gotten to his slave one yet. Or I'm sorry, what's the new name? Fire spray.
Boba Fett starship.
Oh my god! Wait,
Boba Fett's fire spray starship. Slave one.
During that whole controversy about Boba Fett's the Slave One, I sent a picture to my really conservative friend that they changed the name to the Justice Warrior One. Like I had this screenshot. It was like it was from StarWars.com, and I just Inspect Element changed it from Slave One to Justice Warrior One. I sent him that screenshot,
Glorious.
and he got so mad.
Glorious.
He's like, I hate this Star Wars. Sucks. No,
See,
it was-
I'm like
it's like
Goldman. I hope that stuff happens because that just spices everything up in the fandom. You know.
I don't know. I don't know if I want it to be renamed. I'm not sure if I'm that toxic.
No,
but-
I don't think it needs to be renamed. I think that's silly.
That was dumb. No,
It's
that was
very
dumb.
silly.
The slave one. It was.
But
like,
it's also dumb to get so like some people got genuinely like that guy who played in the special edition. How pissed he got. He was kind of.
Oh, he literally stood on the grave of Jeremy Boring. He
I
was like,
know.
he didn't die for this or something like that. It's like, what the
It's
fuck
like
are you talking
dog,
about?
the name change of a ship that's been mentioned like twice in like 2 books. Like
Yeah,
I mean, the
this
name was
a
never
big
mentioned.
book.
The name of the ship was never mentioned in the original trilogy.
Exactly,
Again,
but most
it was
people
never
forgot
or
the-
literally
the name.
anything in any actual media. It's only in comics and Lego
The
Star
toys
Wars.
came up with it.
Lego
On
Star
Wars,
Wars.
a
Yeah.
little bit.
They came up with a name for the toys because they had to put something on the
But-
box.
So sorry, I just want to go back. So the reason, because remember we talked about that one rumor about Takodana from The Force Awakens.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
That's
That's a good point. Like that doesn't feel like in the cards anymore for me, because that I heard that they were supposed to tie that in with like the Battlefront 2 campaign of not some. I saw someone on Reddit say that like it was going to be like Luke and Han being at Takodana, and that's not the case. They're not going to be like at Maz Kanata's castle, as far as I know. But
Mhm.
I thought that they were going to go there at least. I
Oh,
mean, from
there's something we didn't think about. Okay, because in the trailers, we saw that the scene where he was having like the meeting of the 5 families, right? Like they were all sitting there talking, right? We haven't gotten that part yet. Does that take? We don't know if that takes place on Tatooine.
Ooh, that's a good point.
They could be meeting off-world in a neutral location with all these heads of the different, crime families.
Hashtag Mazda's Castle.
Exactly.
That's
neutral ground.
I am curious where Boba Fett has Slave One parked, because we know from the Mandalorian that you can't just leave a ship parked anywhere. It can get ransacked. So he probably has Slave One parked somewhere safe. But
I think he can park it anywhere on Tatooine. The Tusken Raiders aren't going to fuck with it. They're going to be like, "Oh, that's Boba's. That's our boy."
I mean, you still have the docks there on Mos Eisley. It's secure there, isn't it? I mean,
yeah. But what about between like right after Return of the Jedi? Why didn't the Tusken Raiders raid it then? They just not find it?
Oh, you mean where has it been throughout all this time? That's a good point. Yeah,
yeah.
I probably stayed at Jabba's palace for a while. No one,
maybe Big Fortune took care of it.
Yeah,
turned it into a brothel or something.
The last thing I have, at least for the show in terms of like topics, is we are in a new year. It's weird to feel that we're in 2022. I'm still recovering from 2020, so it's weird being 2 years away from that. But Star Wars in 2022 seems a lot better, at least looking back at 2021. We talked about it last week's episode, or maybe I think it was 2 weeks ago now, like, what 2021 was like for Star Wars fans. So now that that's behind us, we talked about our highlights for 2021. We talked about what we hated about it, what we loved about it, the good, the bad. And I think we all rated it as mid, if not bad. We all said it was kind of a bad year. So when it comes to 2022, you guys think it's going to be a good year? And also, like, what are you guys most excited for? Because we have Book of Boba Fett, which is going to continue going. So we can count that into like your list of anticipation, even though I think all of us are going to have it at the bottom at the moment, at least reading the room. But we have Book of Boba coming out. We have the Cassian Andor series, which will be 12 episodes. The Kenobi series, which I think is 6 episodes, an hour long each. Bad Batch season 2, and Mandalorian season 3. So out of those 5, which one are you most excited for? Or, I mean, I would tell you guys to put them in order in terms of like hype, but that may take too long. But do as you please.
Give me a minute.
Someone else goes in a banner at the bottom, so we know exactly which ones. Because I still don't even know anymore
I'll give my answer.
What's not, because things keep changing. So I have no idea.
Let me see. We got Boba. This is cool. I think you can type.
All right,
you can call it 200.
Yeah, I got my ranking. So we got Mandalorian season 3 is up top. Just below it, barely below it, is Obi-Wan. Then a little bit below that, we got Andor. Then a fairly big drop off, we got Bad Batch season 2, and then another drop off, we got the rest of Boba Fett.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, for me right now, Kenobi's at the top. For all of them. Then Mando season 3. I mean, they're almost neck and neck, but
Same.
Kenobi's edging it out just a little bit. Dead last, I'm sorry, is Bad Batch. That's and the thing is, even as dead last, I'm gonna be forced to watch another probably 16 fucking episodes for like the 2 or 3 that matter.
Okay.
We have to watch them every week for Chatooine.
Yes,
I mean, I guess I could wait until they come out, and then when people talk about it and go, okay, now I need to watch this one. I guess I could do that. But it's like, remember, everything that Filoni does, especially in animated shows, nothing is chronologically linear. It always jumps around. You know what I mean? So it's like
Clone Wars.
Could you imagine if Bad Batch season 2 was a prequel to the Clone Wars, or not to the Clone Wars? But
it's so
when we saw them.
The Bad Batch season 2 is going to be half the story is going to be flashbacks of Omega and young Boba Fett hanging out together.
Oh, but he does this on purpose too. Like you'll have an episode of Bad Batch that's completely pointless, right? But there's a nugget in there that's going to lead to something important on a later episode. Like Goldman was talking about how you have those side stories that are important later, And then even though I want to watch that episode that's important, if I didn't watch the other episode, I didn't see the nugget that led to that.
It's so people can say, well, no, it is important. The episode is not filler because this happens and this is connected to the next episode.
People don't understand filler. Yeah. Actually, I want to say something. The one thing I'm more excited about than all the shows is Celebration. Because for me, I don't know. For me, I just get more
God.
I'm
setting
myself up from disappointment, but I'm excited. No, they have to. They can't flop on Star
Well,
Wars Celebration.
what-
It's
what
not.
makes
It might not be up to them. It's in California, dude.
Yeah, it's
Well,
in
no,
like if it was
well,
here in
no, okay.
Orlando, I think it'd happen 100%. But it being fucking,
Yeah.
I hate to say it, liberal ass California, they're gonna be like, well, Grandma might get sick, and gotta cancel everybody's trip.
They already pushed back
God.
Morbius and stuff because of Omicron. And it's
It
like not
came out
even-
that was because No Way Home is still blasting and
Now that's what
sales.
I said. I don't believe
you
it's
know,
because of the damn virus.
Omicron.
Okay.
Decepticon.
No, yeah,
But
no one's scared
but
of
here's
the
the thing.
Autobots.
Here in Chicago, the teachers union in the city, not the suburbs, but which is like the third largest teachers union in the country, just voted to do at-home schooling again.
Mhm.
Because of this
I heard
virus.
that. Yeah.
God,
Guys,
wanna move to
people are
Florida.
flipping out. And
Please come.
I am not one of those that was throughout this whole thing saying, "Oh, it's fake. Oh, stay. Don't worry about it." I was all
Conspiracy.
about, listen, get vaccinated if you can. If you don't have to, you don't want to. That's for your prerogative. But fine. But I say, still, you should get vaccinated. Wear the mask. That's when it was all going on. Once we got to this Omicron stuff, it's just a cold, dude. That's all it is. And what people fail to realize is that just like the flu, there is no such thing as a COVID-free life anymore. It's never going to go away. It's always going to be here. Now you just have to learn to deal with it like we deal with the flu and we deal with the cold. It's you can't shut down every time a variant shows up now.
I like this comment about COVID for Celebration because half the nerds will be in mask and helmets, so we're going to be pretty safe regardless. I think Celebration is going to happen. I think if anything, they're going to like limit the amount of tickets that they will sell. But I'm still extremely excited for Celebration. Probably won't be able to have like a party like I wanted to because of the COVID stuff and people likely not wanting that to happen.
We'll do a Chatooine podcast and we'll just take shots every 10 minutes until one of us passes out. That'll be our party.
I'll be first.
For every $1 someone super chats will be a shot for everybody. So if you donate $5, we do 5 shots. $10, 10 shots. Like
I like that idea. I like that idea.
I want more than $8.
yeah. Minimum $10 a donation
Hey,
for the shot.
We could get a table at Celebration, and then we can just set up a little camera and have Star Wars
That's all
Celebration
you.
Chatooine show.
If I
that
can
is
even
on
make
your
it there at
And
this
then we'll
point.
sneak in
Yeah,
a
that's a good
whole
point.
line of just airplane shots somehow inside the door. Just sneak them in, and then be like, "Oh, it's Sprite," And
I can sneak around the Celebration, but it's not easy or fun. You meet a lot
good
of
job,
weird
Lunga.
people.
You're gonna have people arguing about COVID in the comments.
Oh,
There we go.
does anyone have their predictions? What happens at the end of Book of Boba? Because I have one that I was talking about last night with Yellow, and I've been actually saying it for a while now. I still think it could be completely wrong when we're talking about cameos and appearance. I still feel, I don't know if we'll see Amelia Clark herself, but I still feel there's going to be a Crimson Dawn Kira thing at the end. You're going to see Quinlan Voss's ship or something appear over Tatooine. I think that can happen at the very end.
That just reminds
That's
me
gonna
of
set up-
Solo. They
that's gonna
set up Darth Maul's thing. Oh, it never happened. It's never gonna happen.
Well, no, it's what I'm saying. It's setting up a rivalry between Crimson Dawn and Boba Fett's organization.
right. I think it's too
Yeah.
late to bring in Crimson Dawn in the show, like for like a huge aspect. I can see that. At
I
the
disagree.
End.
I see it happening just because, like I said earlier, if we get rid of the flashbacks already, like if we're moving on from the Tusken Raider flashbacks, there could be so much done within these 5 episodes that are just like beat by beat. I don't think we're gonna have any filler episodes like The Mandalorian, because there's one unique thing we have to look back. Like season 1 of The Mandalorian and even season 2, there were some times that people were like, "Man, a lot of these are fillers. Like there's 4 or 5 episodes out of a season you don't really need to watch." I don't feel like
only
Book
had
of
3, didn't they?
Well, yeah, see, you're right. Season 2,
Then you kick
I think the
off.
second episode was a filler, and then after
Mhm.
that, like, unless the Bill Murr, or Bill Burr, I don't know why I said Bill Murr, but Bill Burr episode
Mhm.
was a filler. You could consider that, but
Well,
those are 2. But the first season definitely had 4 at least that you could consider that were
Yeah.
filler, and we still really like that and got a lot of development in terms of that story. I think the Book of Boba Fett could do that. I don't think they're going to do a lot of filler like that, and I think uniquely in this situation there is no filler because we still don't know what he is trying to do. So that.
And Kira's
think
actually
it'll-
relatively young at this point, not like all the characters. She's only like late 30s. She
Yeah.
would be at this point
Possibly,
because she was
yeah.
18.
Yeah.
She was 18 in Solo. I don't know if people realize that. She was like,
serious?
yes,
at the beginning of it or at the end.
at the beginning of it, she was 18.
Okay, so she was probably like maybe
Yeah.
early 20s.
But
at
that's
the
only
end.
like a 3-year difference because Solo is,
Yeah.
is 10 to 13 years BBY.
Oh, okay. So add another
Mhm.
20.
So she was
You know,
18 at the beginning,
see-
and then she was 21 at the end.
I was telling my friends about the rumors of Amelia Clark, and they're like, "Is she the right age to play Kira now?" I'm like, "Yes, she's the right age to play
Yeah,
Kira now.
exactly.
She wasn't in Solo."
Right.
No.
Surprisingly, yeah, I think we'll see something about her maybe in the last episode. I don't think that she's going to be a big deal in this first season.
I think all
I'm
you
not-
need is Quinlan Voss's ship, that vertical ship. That's all you need, is that showing up. Over. That's all. You don't even have to do anything more. And that should tell people everything. I think
You're saying Quinlan Voss? Don't you mean
I'm sorry,
Voss?
Dryden Voss. Why do I keep
I
saying?
thought about it.
Yeah,
I was
Dryden
like, why
Voss.
did she? I was like, how the fuck did she get Quinlan Voss's
Yeah.
ship?
Dryden Voss. That's right. Yeah, Dryden. That's what I meant. Yeah, his ship, that vertical ship. That should have showed up. Like, that's how forgettable Solo was. The names I forget.
Well,
he was a great actor.
Well, one of the last things on the Book of Boba Fett, were you guys surprised at all by the numbers that it did? 1.7 million views. It beat the Hawkeye series, which was at 1.5 and had a 2-episode
Really?
premiere. Yeah,
Yeah,
that surprised me. That, but by the way, I want to add this. It also beat Mandalorian season 2's premiere. That
Really?
Yes, it
Wow.
did.
Yeah, 'cause
Mandalorian
Mandalorian-
season
Nostalgia is strong
Yeah,
with this one.
yes, Mandalorian. Well, maybe not nostalgia. Maybe it's Disney Plus subscribers or just marketing in general. But like Mandalorian season 2's premiere had a little bit less than 1.1 million views in its first week. And don't forget that released on Friday nights. This released on a Wednesday, and the first episode did that 1.7 million. So that's pretty impressive. The only one that's beaten it that really bad is like 2.5 for Loki.
I thought Star Wars was dead.
That's kind of what I was talking about for my video on the topic tomorrow about like it's kind of hard to say Star Wars is dead because this just showed that it's still popular even when Marvel has like a booming year and like just blows everything out the water. Star Wars still has like that kind of brand value that makes me curious of like, do you think Star Wars could be like the highest debuting show on Disney Plus? Because Loki doing 2.5 million is a lot. But I think something like Kenobi or even Mando season 3. I think
Well,
Kenobi.
we know why
I will
Loki
put
got
money
that,
on it.
right? Tom Hiddleston stands are strong. There is
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah,
people
but is
love
there 2.5
Tom
million of them or
Yes.
million of them even?
Yes.
Clearly.
Yes, you don't
I'm not
realize
in
how
on that, so I
popular-
don't know.
Oh no, I mean we're not. The Loki character obviously is fan fictioned everywhere. Okay, people love that Tom Hiddleston's Loki to begin with, but there's people who just love Tom Hiddleston the way the Raylos were with
I was about to compare. I was about to say
Adam
that.
Driver.
Loki's
Yeah.
kind of the Kylo Ren of Marvel.
Yeah,
Well,
He's
do
not
y'all
as
think?
swole,
Do y'all
though, so
think?
he's not as
Do y'all think
good.
that Kenobi could beat that? Do you think Kenobi could beat
Oh,
the
yeah.
2.5 million, or do you think
Yes,
Mandalorian could
definitely.
beat it?
If they market it right. Goldman, I really liked your
That's a
video
good
from
point.
today, by the way.
Thank you.
Good video. No, if they need to market it right. Either way, no matter what, it's gonna do well. Obviously, Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, my generation, Goldman's generation. These, like, I'm seeing a lot of you guys do. We grew up on Ewan and Hayden. This is our Star Wars. With the OT, it was Harrison Ford, Carey, Mark Hamill. It's gonna be. People don't believe when I say this. It's gonna be like a Force Awakens type of thing. Not as strong because it's not a movie. There wasn't a break in Star Wars for a
it's
decade or
gonna be
whatever it
hype,
was.
dude. It's
A
gonna be
decade,
hype.
yeah.
gonna be
But
big.
it's going to be. You're gonna see a lot of similarities where it's just gonna. I hope at least it's gonna shoot up if they market it right. Because
Do you want to know why? Think about. Okay, remember
Why?
all the craziness people were angry about this. We saw what Spider-Man: No Way Home did, right? We saw the
Yeah.
insanity.
nostalgia.
This movie is that, right? And you remember how angry people were about not getting a trailer, how the leaks were happening because they weren't getting a trailer. People were so upset about not getting a trailer. Just think about what happened after this last event when we didn't get a Kenobi trailer. People were like, why is there no Kenobi trailer? Why are we not seeing anything? Why was there just a sizzle reel? Why aren't we? People want this Kenobi thing, and it's going to be just on nostalgia alone is going to
Well,
carry
the
it
second
to
it
the
was
numbers.
announced that Hayden was back, I mean that
Oh,
blew
that broke
up
that didn't
on
break
Twitter.
the internet, but yeah, it blew up really. And a side note for me on like
That's
the
a
marketing
character.
aspect of it, everyone's been not everyone, people like I think Jordan Mason and a couple other people have been hinting at like the show releasing in May. It just makes so much sense that it releases in May because that's the month of Star Wars. I thought like the show would come out on like May 4th. That makes the most sense to me. But
Do we know
my
what day of the
friend,
week May 4th is?
Come on, dude! Didn't you see last year's May 4th?
I don't actually.
You've got your expectations way too
Yeah,
high.
well, yeah, you're not wrong. So this year,
Oh!
May 4th is on a Wednesday. Oh
Wednesday.
shit, it's on a Wednesday. That
Mhm.
just makes so much sense. But what makes me nervous now hear me out here. Makes me nervous is I have a friend called the Hoth Spot. My friend Mark, and I know he has friends with very good connections and one of these good friends said that they're going to reveal a lot of things for the Kenobi show at Star Wars Celebration the last week of May, and use that as a platform to promote the Kenobi.
I said that last time we were talking about it. I go with probably a lot of stuff.
like
at the
that.
I feel like
celebration.
that's such a mistake. Like I feel like
Yeah.
you market it before you release it on May 4th, the Star Wars Day. I mean, come on. With the year that we have in 2022, could you imagine if we have a May the 4th this year that we had last year where nothing happens?
Well, at least we have content surrounding it around the time. It's not like we had the Bad Batch and then
Yeah, but will
Oh,
we
that's
though? Is the
it.
question. Like
we got
so
Boba
book
Fett
let's
and then,
Boba
yeah, 'cause
Fett's not going to
Kenobi's next
last
on the
until
list.
May.
It's next up,
Yeah,
isn't it?
I mean, unless they do like Cassian Andor in the middle of fucking like March or something. The Book of Boba Fett will
Man.
be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It'll end in early February. So pretty much for the rest of February and March, April, unless they give us Cassian Andor in between that, we won't get Kenobi until hopefully May 4th is what I'm guessing. But if what my friend said is true, it may not be until like late May. Like they could be like it's dropping June 1st, and because Star Wars Celebration happens between the 26th and the 29th of May, so them doing it like that Wednesday following, it'd be a short marketing window, but it'd be huge at the same time. Because remember what they did with the Rise of Skywalker? They didn't show any trailers or anything like that until May, and they
Rise
they
of
did
Skywalker
a huge
came out in December, and they had I think like 15 spotlights and stuff throughout that time. And they had all these sort of promotional aspects and marketing.
Because they had to. The thing was getting so much bad press for like 3 months before the movie came out. They had to do
I don't
something
care
to
what they
counter it.
say.
They were worried people weren't going to show up. They had to do it.
When did tickets go on sale? It was
Revisionist history, my friend.
It was a
Don't
few
you
months
remember
after.
that time? It was bad.
not really.
It wasn't that bad, but it wasn't. There wasn't
Yes,
hype.
it was.
No,
Yes, it was.
no, it was not
When
that
those
bad.
leaks came out, people were
I
screaming.
Yeah,
did-
people were
dying.
upset. People were saying like the movies, but like I didn't
People
watch
in
the
the
leaks,
very
but I
core audience who are reading those leaks, sure, I'll give you that one. But the general, not at all. Definitely not.
Well,
I
the
didn't
general
know
audience
those
didn't
leaks
care anymore.
existed until some douchebag who was calling me a Disney shill sent them to me, bullet point for bullet point. So the whole movie got spoiled for me. But yeah, no, I don't think that was a general thing at all. I think that was that was a very
No,
small
because there
group.
were even the Last Jedi lovers who were pissed. It was
I don't care what they
not
say.
good. I
Okay,
mean,
hold on,
the
hold on.
original, the
Last
usual
Jedi lovers.
suspects of original
No.
trilogy lovers.
Last
didn't
Jedi
like it,
lovers.
obviously.
How many are there?
A lot.
Too many.
Too many.
Too many.
No, but you said, that's not a diss or anything. They're like, it's a very.
Pablo means when are you going to
More
realize
loud.
that your
more Rise of
group
Skywalker
of
lovers.
friends? When you're going to realize that your group of friends are the niche. You are
I
not the
don't have friends.
majority.
Okay, you know what? I don't have friends.
When will you realize
There's-
Palpatine
there's
is the
original
prequels
trilogy
who are the
lovers.
majority these days?
I'm a
Yeah,
prequel
I
fan.
guess
I'm-
you do fall in that kind of
I'm a
category.
prequel
You are the
fanboy. You see my sabers and stuff I've got. Like,
yeah, but you're the weird ones. Prequel fanboys don't like.
I'm the one who
Rise of
can't be
Skywalker.
friends with any prequel fans because I get harassed and attacked on the daily because they're like, "Oh, you like Episode 9? Wow."
Exactly. That's the
Doesn't work
point I'm
out.
trying to make. Oh, it's good times. Good times. Good times.
Man, oh man.
Well,
it'll be fine.
I'm
Good
excited to see what happens with all this hoopla. I'm excited to see whatever the fuck they do with Kenobi, Mando season 3, Andor. That may be the one that like surprises us all. It has 12 episodes.
It's gonna be great.
They've
It's
got
gonna be
like
great.
what?
It's gonna be great.
Three
gonna be great.
seasons are already rumored.
That
So
one
I
had
don't
2 or
know.
3. Yeah,
I don't know. Like they might have some big plans for this. So I'm kind of like I wasn't excited for this at first at all. And now I'm kind of like, see, just hearing that they have multiple plans, multiple seasons planned, it builds my. I'm like, okay, I'm kind of more intrigued now. I don't know if it'll be good or bad, but I'm.
I gotta tell you,
invested.
we're talking about Andor, right?
Mhm.
We're talking about Andor.
Mhm.
I wasn't interested in Andor hardly at all. I had just a casual interest, right? Like, well, I'm gonna watch it. Star Wars. We'll see how it goes. I do like Diego Luna. I don't know if you guys have watched. I just finished watching Narcos Mexico. I don't know if you guys have ever watched that, but he
I haven't,
plays Miguel Felix Angel, the big crime lord that was in that thing, and Diego Luna plays him in this. And the way he did Narcos Mexico and the way he played that role, I'm excited for Andor now. Because if he plays that hard nosed kind of get it done however he needed, because that was the whole thing about Andor before he got softened by Jen Erso. It was get it done by any means necessary. You know what I mean?
Built on hope.
Yeah, and that can be intriguing. If we get that Andor, not the soften Andor by the end of Rogue One, if we get the Andor, the by any means necessary, it can be a pretty intriguing show.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great.
Can't wait. Well, yeah, go ahead.
I was like, can I give my list of the top? Because I never.
Oh
did
yeah,
that.
let me put the banner back up.
Oh,
I don't even think I put mine in.
5 shows.
Kenobi and Mando season 3 are actually like neck and neck. I'm more excited for Kenobi. I'm more intrigued for Mando because we have really no idea what Mando's going to be about. And then Boba Fett because I'm still liking how it's going so far. Andor, Bad Batch. Very bottom.
That's we're in the same place.
Where's
Oh,
Boba Fett? 'Cause Boba
We're
Fett,
right
I
there,
haven't
we're right
watched.
Me and Lungo, we've been kind of eye to eye lately.
Dang,
things are
everything's
coming around on
I like how y'all
all I gotta do is
just argued
just-
about the Rise of Skywalker. You're like, you know what? We've been kind of
Well,
eye to eye lately.
Listen,
moving on,
I haven't been
moving
able
on.
to take Papa Memes to an opera like you did with Goldman. So just
Yes,
it'll
yes.
it'll
Yeah,
when we get the
I don't
celebration.
dare
If we
you.
get there,
You know what I'm gonna do?
I'll
I'm gonna start chilling for the Bad Batch now, just to show off.
Just to keep the
God
Civil
help
War
us.
going, huh? You know.
Okay. My ranking for this number 1 Mando season 3. I feel like that one is gonna do its damnedest to blow everything out the water. Number 2, Kenobi. How can you not be excited for that? It is a Star Wars fan's dream. Everything that they're doing for it is pure fan service. And if you're honest with me about what you're doing, like, hey, I'm just going to give you a bunch of junk food, give you a sugar rush, and then pat you on the back and tell you to go to sleep, at least you're honest with me, and I'm going to take it. Number 3, I'm going to put Andor. I'm actually going to put Andor as my third most interesting, just because, like Lunga said, Diego Luna is a very good actor. I'm kind of curious on how this is going to be 12 seasons. The timeline is, for it being live action, is actually very kind of fun for me. It's something that I want to see. This era of Star Wars is what made Star Wars so popular. Seeing it fleshed out over 12 episodes of him being in the rebellion, it sounds like something that I could get lost in pretty easily. Number 4, yeah, I'll put Boba. Maybe it's just because we're already watching it and we're already into it, and I can have hindsight of, if it was before Book of Boba came out, I would put Boba above Andor in terms of interest, but for 2022, right now I'm more interested in Andor than I am Boba. And of course, bottom of my list, like everybody, is Bad Batch. Just absolute, not a single character in that show has me going, you know what? What's going to happen to you? I could not fucking care less. Crosshair, maybe. Crosshair is interesting, but everybody else, whatever.
What about
Good
the
luck.
Can we get a round of applause
Who?
that there's no Star Wars Legos on this list?
Well, that's a game.
I was thinking about bringing it up.
Constant. I mean,
forgot.
if
Like,
we're
I gotta
doing
change
that one, it's hard to, like. I don't want to talk about that one anymore because who knows if it's even going to happen. I mean, they've been marketing that thing for 3 to 4 years. It's losing its hype. I feel like there's a thing of like too long of delays.
People just forget it exists and that it's
Exactly.
supposedly coming.
Yeah.
No,
Good.
I think,
Let
no,
them
we're
forget
forgetting
it
that
exists.
we're going to get another Lego special this year. We have to. It's
Are
going to be
we?
It's going to be a Thanksgiving special.
I'm waiting for the
Jesus.
Easter one.
We got holiday, we got Halloween, then it's going to be Thanksgiving.
We'll see. We'll see.
Chewbacca dressed
If
up
they,
as
if they
a
market a
Chewbacca.
Lego special that's called The Death of Rey, I will watch it.
Oh no.
I will watch it.
Keep dreaming. Keep dreaming.
Come on, Lunga. I thought we were good. You're ruining what we had.
Got to twist that knife a little bit every now and then. Just-
It hurts.
Just make it a little deeper. Add that pain. That's all the time we have today. Thank you guys for joining us on the first ever episode of Chatooine in 2022. If you guys have not checked out the official Chatooine channel, eventually we're only going to be streaming on there. No more Star Wars only being Chatooine. It's hard to like reference this. Be like, watch my show. It's on my channel, but it's called Chatooine. No. We're gonna have an official channel for Chatooine, Instagram, Twitter. Follow it on all that stuff. Thank you guys for watching. Check out Darth Eddie Lunga, Palpa Memes Goldman's channel in the description below. Save some money on your books. Use the code or whatever in the description as well. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time, and may the Force be with you always.
What?